Hi, I'm Derrick Morton. I'm the CEO of Vegas World. Hi, David. How you doing? Thanks for coming. I've been in the games business for about 20 years. So I started, my first game projects were Jeopardy and Wheel of Fortune on CD-ROM. There were these things that you had to put in a computer to make them run to actually get a game going. Since then, I've run things like a cash gaming website called iWin, where you competed against other players for real money. Bingo sites, where you played bingo for real money. And I used to have a thing from 1999 to 2002, which was a social casino called Virtual Vegas. And Virtual Vegas was a lead gen for real money gambling until the Attorney General of the United States started sending us notes saying that they didn't like us advertising those guys. But they changed their mind. So on December 23rd, 2011, the US Government Department of Justice issued this statement. Previous to this, online gambling in the United States had been considered illegal because it came over phone lines. And any gambling over phone lines and the internet they considered a phone line was illegal. Interesting date they chose to leak this information out, 2 days before Christmas, right? This law had been used to put people in jail, to prevent people from coming to the United States, to confiscate millions of dollars, to confiscate vehicles, homes, all kinds of stuff. And then all of a sudden, 2 days before Christmas, they leaked out this little story. Oh, it's okay. We don't care anymore. So anyway, this made a lot of people very excited about what could happen in the United States as states go state by state now to try and figure out what the online gambling regulations are going to be. And I'm sorry, this is a sort of a U.S.-centric conversation I'm having because I'm a U.S. guy. I don't know that much about the regulations and the gambling here in Europe, but I can tell you a little bit about what's going on over in the States. So as I said, it is state by state right now. The first state was Nevada, but Nevada only has poker today. There's a little bit of resistance from the land-based side and different constituents there about having other things besides poker. But for now, poker's live with Ultimate Poker, and I think there's another company, World of Poker, is also live as well. Delaware has launched with real money slots, poker, and blackjack, and New Jersey is live with all kinds of gambling stuff as well. There's about 10 states who have some sort of regulation, some sort of propositions in place that are underway, but probably nothing that's going to pass this year. And I apologize in advance, but some of this information is going to be redundant with some of the information that other presenters have presented. So if you saw the past two presentations, you may have seen some of this information. This is a comparison of the real money online gambling audience versus the social casino players. About 173 million players, according to Super Data Research, but about 49 million players playing real money gambling online. So a much bigger audience on the social side, but on the revenue side, much more money on the real money gambling side. So about 35 billion in online gambling revenue versus the 2.8 or so billion in social casino revenue. So much bigger audience in social, but much smaller revenue. And when you look at that on a per user basis, it's pretty interesting. So obviously the big difference between social and real money gambling is there's no cash out in social. We can take your money, but we can't give you any back. It's a really great business. It costs to acquire customers about $1.50 to $6. In real money gambling, that could be $100 to $500. One of the reasons why these ranges are so broad is there's a big difference between a slot player, a poker player, and a blackjack player. So the different values of those customers, different ETH with which you can acquire them, and also especially on the social side, the money to acquire a player on the web side versus on the mobile side are much different. To acquire a web customer through a search engine can cost you 90 cents, but if you're trying to acquire a customer for an iPad, for example, it could cost you up to $6. So those are the basic examples. You'll notice also that on the ARPU and ARPU side, real money gambling, for the most part, doesn't have the sort of freeloader players that they have in social casinos. Social casinos typically convert 2 to 3% of their players into real money players. On the real money gambling side, typically you come in and you make a deposit right off the bat, or you might get a small taste of free, but for the most part, there are not a lot of players in the game playing for free. A big difference you'll see here is if you look at the total number of players and the total amount of revenue generated by both industries, you'll see that the overall ARPU of $16 for social versus $714 for real money gambling. That's a pretty significant difference and makes the real money gambling look pretty exciting. Sounds great, right? Except for what's happening in the US is Only land-based casinos really are being allowed to get licenses. These guys have relationships with the regulators, so they're already sort of in bed, so to speak, with the guys who are controlling the industry. So land-based guys are the first ones to get access to these licenses. Now they are working with technology partners to provide the back-end systems and some of the actual clients and stuff that the people are playing. But for the most part, the people that have the license, have the relationship with the regulators, they are people that have land-based operations. Also, this is a state-by-state process, and in each state so far, the licensing fees are about $500,000 on a per-state basis. And then they collect a 15% tax from all of your proceeds and your revenue you generate from the games. And of course, each year, you have to renew those licenses. As the previous speaker said, there's lots of regulatory hurdles as well in terms of background checks, making sure that none of the senior executives or partners of the company have had any legal issues in their past. Really, really deep dive into you as people, not just you as a company. And even on the technology level, there's some really entrenched real money gambling operators who are getting places at the table. You'll not see any small companies partnering with land-based casinos that are getting these first licenses in New Jersey and Nevada. They're all mostly guys who have a long history of real money gambling here in Europe for the most part, that are partnering with land-based casinos in the US to get those first licenses in gambling, and particularly in New Jersey. So as far as I see it, there's really no place for small to medium-sized casual game developers today in the real money gambling space. The other issues you'll see is no two states are going to have the same rules. So as an online operator, you're used to being able to have a game and blast that game out to the universe and have everybody playing the same thing. What's going to happen as state-by-state rollout in the United States is every state's going to have a different kind of configuration. Some states are going to require that you ID check the individuals that are playing the game in that state to make sure that you've verified that they are a Nevada resident or a New Jersey resident or wherever they've come from. And so far, there's no shared liquidity from state to state. So even though we have 3 states live, a poker player in Nevada can't play with a poker player in New Jersey or in Delaware. So there's some stuff going on underway to correct that. May happen, may not, but for now, it's very difficult to get liquidity, and liquidity in games like poker is very important. Another thing you'll note as a person coming to Casual Connect as a developer is there are 30 public companies in the real money gambling space. These guys are big and well funded, so they're going to do a great job of coming into this space in the United States when the opportunities arise, and make it very difficult for small players to come in. And they have hundreds of employees, and they've got a 15-year head start on you. One wild card is Bitcoin. If Bitcoin becomes popular, regulations won't mean anything. The only reason you can't really you're prevented from online gambling in the United States is Visa and MasterCard are prevented from doing any transactions with you, so that effectively shuts down the US market. There's still players that go offline and go offshore and play, but if Bitcoin were popular and everybody had Bitcoin, that would remove that restriction. The whole idea of not being able to play in a real money gambling situation because of Visa and MasterCard restrictions would be inconsequential. You could operate a gambling operation from anywhere. We'll see. Bitcoin's been having a lot of struggle in the past week with technical issues and things that are going on with it. We'll find out. It may be Bitcoin, maybe Litecoin, maybe somebody else, but it appears that at some point we will have a virtual currency that will eliminate the ability for any regulators to regulate what's happening online and online transactions. I really believe that social casinos, social gaming, and real money gambling are complementary services, not competing services. As I said, 10 years ago, I ran a social casino, and we were ad-based only. We made about $10 million a year just doing advertising for real money online gambling casinos, and it was a great business. We really loved it until the Attorney General told us to shut it down. Like I said, there's lots of money to be made, and as you saw on the previous slide, a real money casino will pay $150, $200, $250 on an acquisition fee to acquire a customer. And in many cases, you'll have many of these real money gambling customers that you'll be able to send customers to, and you might have the same customer sign up for 2 or 3 of them. And I also think that, I say that they'll swing both ways. your social casino customers are not just going to go to a real money gambling operation and stay and only play there. They'll come back and forth. They'll play around at the social casino once they've spent all the money they want to at the real money casino. They'll come back to your game and continue to play your game as well. So I don't think there's a danger of losing your customers because you are promoting real money gambling. Really believe in the social casino business. They're expected to be 50% growth over the next couple of years, growth from about 2.9 billion to 4.4 billion. But as other presenters have said, it's a very crowded space. iTunes itself has hundreds of social casino games. A lot of these guys have been in there for 2 or 3 years, so people have already established their relationships with the customers, and people sort of have their favorite games already. And 65% of the iTunes social casino revenue is generated by just 10 games. So my advice to everybody is there's lots of opportunity here, but do something different. Be creative. You guys are game developers. Use your game developer capabilities to really make something cool and not just make another lucky 7 slot machine. Making it another slot machine it's not what the market's looking for. What people are looking for is something different. So use your ingenuity to bring something different to the social casino market. And I'll show you a couple examples of what we're doing and what a partner of ours is doing. So we actually made a gambling game out of solitaire. So you wager. You put in a wager at the beginning of the game, and you play this golf solitaire game, and depending upon how far through the game you get, you win a certain number of coins in the game. You also notice one of the differentiators, or a couple of the differentiators we take to the gaming is all of our games are multiplayer. So you're always playing with 8 other people, whether you're playing slots, bingo's up to 100 players. Everything you're doing in the game, you're always playing multiplayer with other people, so it makes it feel really social. The other thing we do is sell you Lucky Charms. So we raise the odds of all of our games above 100% by selling you these good luck charms on the right, and that's actually where we make most of our money, is by selling people luck, not by the loss replacement of replacing their coins. Another really innovative thing that a partner of ours has done is create a game called Fringo. So Fringo is a hybrid of bingo and slots. You'll see that there's a sort of a bingo card layout here, and these fruits are being called out over the top, and as the fruits match things on the card, you select them to punch them out or daub them as you would on a bingo card, but then pay lines, like with a slot machine, appear to actually give you rewards. You're playing with 100 people, up to 100 people at a time over here on the right, and every time you make a Fringo, which is collecting one of these pay lines, you move up in the rankings. This game makes money a couple different ways. Coins are removed or wagered from your account, but you also spend money to pay for advantage in the game. So it may cost you 50 cents to $1 to guarantee that you will place higher in the rankings than some of the other players. So we're making money in a couple different ways here, both from the wager and from people paying for advantage in the game. So I encourage everybody to be part of the social casino business. I don't mind a little bit of competition, but I would like to see everybody sort of take it to the next level. I think we're in the first sort of phase of this business. Everybody sort of mimicked just the standard casino game format, but I think there's a lot more we can do to make it a lot more creative and a lot more fun for the audience. Thanks a lot. We good?
Well,
Okay.
You showed us a couple of your games, but the one differentiator that Vegas World has is that it's a 3D environment, and you didn't kind of highlight. Maybe I was hoping you could talk a little bit about like the benefits or not benefits of having that.
Well, I guess from our point of view, community is really important. So there's a big difference between playing a slots game by yourself and then feeling like you're playing a slots game in an environment with other people around you. You may not actually engage in chat with somebody because you don't know them, but just seeing other people talk about the game and seeing other people chat really makes you feel like you're in a place that's busy and like a real casino. And it also is a big cost of switching. Once you've made a friend in the game, or you see somebody that's playing slots at the same time of day as you, and you come back the next day and they're in the slot game again, you start to recognize them, you say hello. Three weeks later, you guys are on best friend relationship, you know where they live, they know where you live, and you have a conversation, and now you come back every day. so that you can play with that person. So, and you're not going to go play at another casino once you've made those kinds of relationships.
And how much of, in terms of development efforts, how much do you spend on your platform or the 3D world versus pumping out new games and just game formats?
We do a new slot game every month, but the slot game team is only about 4 people. The majority of what we do is to support the underlying platform and building new areas. We have a wedding chapel where people get married. We have a swimming pool where people can swim and jump off the diving board, nightclubs, hotel rooms, all kinds of stuff.
And what percentage of the people are working on that?
Probably about half of the company is dedicated just to the platform itself.
Do you see that changing to become more of slots oriented?
At some point, we'll probably kind of run out of great ideas for what to do with the virtual world and start doing something else, besides just the virtual world with it. Yeah, but we have a lot of stuff we're doing with B2B, building things for partners on the platform, so that we'll stay busy.
Other question?
Looks like you have some really innovative games there, Derrick. What do you think that say a real money operator, what do you think is the biggest thing they could learn from looking at a product like yours?
Well, the real money operator is going to have a little bit of a problem being as innovative as the social operator is. The social guys like us, we can bring a new game to market in a month, try it out, see if it works, A/B test it, and improve on it. It's a little bit tougher in a regulated market because the games have to go through regulatory approval. They have to be submitted. The math has to be a certain way, all kinds of stuff. So I think eventually, once some of these unique concepts start to be knocked off, become ubiquitous, then those things, then they will take them to regulators and be able to have new game formats that are brought into regulated markets. Does that answer your question? Okay.
I saw you were selling Lucky Charms in the previous game, and I was actually wondering, is that just luck you're selling, or actually a certain percentage of sort of a power-up? So how does it work? Is it about the feeling of the luck, or?
It literally, most gambling games have a payout over time of 90 to 95%, so you're losing about 5 to 10% of whatever you wager over time. And we do that too, and we call it loss replacement. Over time you have to replenish your bank account. But where we make most of our money is selling people Lucky Charms. What the Lucky Charms do is they raise the odds above 100%, so that over time as you play, you're always winning and your bank balance is increasing over time until those Lucky Charms run out. So if you buy one that costs 50 cents, that Lucky Charm will only last a few minutes. If you buy a Lucky Charm that costs $20, that Lucky Charm may last you an hour and a half.
Hi, Derrick. Just wanted to find out what other things are you doing to monetize the game, besides Lucky Charms, for instance?
Boy, we sell rings, so people buy wedding rings for each other that cost up to $100. There's 20,000 different things you can wear in the game. So the clothing, hairdos, things that you dress in and you wear on your clothing. What else? Lucky Charms, we sell you coins, sell you power-ups. There's power-ups coming for our bingo game and for our solitaire game, so you can pay for advantage for those as well. So power-ups, Lucky Charms, clothing, virtual items, and of course coins that you need to keep the games going.
Thanks.
Okay, well, great.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.